stack a bunch of crap together, throw glitter on it, and call it a show. Not us. We don't do that. We save that till Sunday. Here on Friday, we bring out A-level, A-list entertainment. We start high and we keep getting higher. Ladies and gentlemen, you know her, you love her, Rachel Mina! This is kind of as close to your hometown as we get, right?
It is, yeah. I actually stayed at home.
Did you really?
Yeah.
It probably took you longer to get from New York to New Jersey than just flying here. The traffic here blows.
There is that, but it's worth it to sleep in my own bed.
Yeah, I bet.
Whoa. Whoa.
I say that out loud. I say that out loud.
Hashtag inappropriate. Hashtag apology. Oh, you're like, well, I wouldn't give. There it is, those amphetamines talking, but holy shit, what I would do in that sack. Oh boy. Rachel, I apologize, and I give you the stage. Rachel, come on, everybody!
I can't talk.
No, please don't. Keep it classy. I cannot believe you just said that.
How are you all? My day just got significantly more fun. It's great to see. Yes, let's start this off right. How are you? I'm so excited you're here.
You know, I'm so excited to be here. As you've seen, my countdown has been going.
Yes, that's what I was saying. I've been watching her countdown like all year. To like when this is kind of, so we like round of applause. You are here. Awesome.
Finally. My question is, wow, this is weird. When you were playing Meg, or even now, like, were there any songs that got you in that mindset, or made you think of Meg?
That's a really good question. And often, like for a lot of parts, I do use music to kind of clue me into that mental space. But interestingly, when I was doing Supernatural, I more just listened to music that was inspiring me at that time, or that I like. Sometimes it was just for energy or things like that, and it was very much not Meg music. Do you have a song suggestion for Meg?
There's a song called Blood in the Cut by Kay Flay, and it's like a really badass song.
Nice. I gotta find that.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
I feel like what I have done is, since doing the part, I've seen so many people have put out really cool like compilation videos to different songs, and I've ended up like downloading a lot of those songs. Like everyone, I feel like everyone in this Supernatural fandom family has better taste than I do, and like you inform me and teach me. So
I'll tweet you some songs.
oh, perfect. Thank you. Yes. And I do not mind being in the Meg mood even when I'm not playing Meg. I think we all need a little Meg in our lives. Hey.
Rachel, my name is Angelica, and you inspire me every day to be myself. And so I'm getting emotional here. What did the Supernatural family mean to you in your struggles and helping you overcome the battles? And I just love you so much.
Thank you. That was amazing, and thank you. And you all inspire me every single day, and you keep me going. And this Supernatural family has meant everything to me. And this group has basically, I think, brought me back to life many times. So if I can do the same, that makes me really happy, and that's only fair. No, because I feel like there's a call and response where hopefully helping to teach each other that it's okay to be you, to express yourself, to none of us fit whatever mold we're often taught by society we should fit. And I now am so more and more determined because of everything that I've learned from all of you to help break that false facade for all of us and let us free. If that makes sense. Hey,
Hey.
how are you?
Hi Rachel, my name's Dakota. I was just wondering, my mother's been struggling a lot with self-doubt and she can't seem to find anything worth fighting for or can't seem to find anything worth going on. And I know that you're really good at finding the positive stuff in life and finding all the happiness and the brightness. And I was just wondering if there was any type of message that you could say to her that would maybe help her a little bit in any way, shape, or form, because she really needs it.
I will try. First of all, I do, like, just so you know, I recognize you, most of you from Twitter and things like that. Like, I do know, know who you are, so just want to acknowledge that. But also, here's the tricky thing about finding those things that inspire us and keep us going or whatever, is that they're different for each individual. So I don't know what will give that to your mother, but what I will say is to search out those things and to make sure they're around and in your life and to know that that's a priority. I have all sorts of, I have files on my computer of just things that inspire me, and I know to go to those people, those images, those quotes, things like that, because we all need that throughout the day of what's going to lift us up. And also, one of the things that has helped me is I kind of will stream of consciousness, just write in a journal, and I'll try to discover for myself those greater kind of truths, those things that ring home for me, and that what's really a priority in my life, and then I try to make sure that that is how I live my life. So, for example, that's what led me to eventually to what I'm doing with Random Acts, is that I realized that so many of these other, things that I can get caught up in and, trying to do in life weren't fulfilling me. But I am completely full and completely happy when I am, being of service and trying to do good in the world. That is what fills me up, but it's not necessarily what makes someone else happy. So I'm sorry to not give you like an easy answer, but it is possible to find those things, and it is absolutely important. And one of the biggest things is if you can try to impart that it is a priority and that she will make everyone in her life happier if she can find those things for herself, and that you want her to be happy, and that will bring you joy.
Thank you.
Hi, Rachel. Hey. First, I just want to say that you were in my top 5 badass female students to inspire me, and it's such an honor to speak with you today. My question, and this is going like really far back, so if you don't know, it's okay. I'm a huge Yellow Card fan.
Oh wow, that's awesome.
Yeah, and I happen to
For
be like...
those of you that don't know, I did a Yellow Card music video years ago.
Yeah, and
Only
I just
one.
recently recognized you in that video finally. And I was just wondering what that experience was like and if you actually listened to their music.
I had not before, and I'm not, that's not completely, I never completely fell for that. I tend to listen to a lot of music from the 60s and things like that, and some obscure, anyway. I have very weird eclectic taste, so I tend not to listen to the most popular music. But they were really nice humans. And that's what I took away from that experience. I had a good time with them, and they were like completely good people and nice. And that's what I remember. Plus, there was a lot of days spent with smoke machines. That's my two takeaways. I'm so glad you enjoyed that though. The video came out really cool too, I thought. Yeah. It's a lot of fun to do.
Thank you so much. I love you.
Yeah, thank you. Also, I feel like one of the things too is I'm just generationally off from that band. Like everyone I know totally loves that and grew up in a different generation. I'm just much older than you. Anyway, thank you for that.
Hi.
Hey.
So you sort of touched upon this already, but my question is, what has it meant to you to be part of a show that has such a scope and such a reach with so many people and has affected them in such good ways?
It means everything, but also this like supernatural family, what you all have created is something very, very unique. I also think that like all the actors that I've worked with, everyone involved, are just abnormally good human beings. And I feel like somehow like everyone in this group, just generally the emphasis on kindness, on help, on community, like all these things are just are unique to this group. So I feel like what I've taken away is completely because of what you create every single day, and all the good you put into the world. And it's really something amazing to witness. One thing I've noticed, like when I'm in an autograph line or something, is how nice everyone is to each other. I can't tell who knows each other, who's like siblings, versus who just is acknowledging the person standing next to them. There's such camaraderie and there's such kindness. And I just want to see that more in the world, period. I feel like we start something cool, let's take it out to the rest of the world. So, what about you? Do you have something specific you want to share? That's all. Just thank you for the great question.
Thank you.
Hi, Rachel.
That's good.
Good. So, number one, love seeing you all the time. But I have a question pertaining like to me and my best friend. We both have disability, and we recently just became part of SAG as aspiring actresses. We got our first, I guess, major extra role. And I want to know, since you've been wonderfully successful in this area, what advice or suggestions can you give to us and or anybody else in our position who is trying to overcome uniquenesses and following their dream?
Well, first of all, I've not been wonderfully successful at getting work since having a disability. It is a problem. It's not something that is easy for a lot of people to accept, but I think it's something that is absolutely important. And it's why I do speak out about it a lot. I advocate for it a lot, because we need to see better representation all around. And I do think it starts with also with background actors, with everything. We need to see that it is okay to be physically different than this false norm that we're given in film and television most of the time. Now, I'll tell you, I think I have a little bit of a clue with one of the reasons that we're not always hired, which is it can be cost prohibitive. Most sets are not ADA compliant. And it's something that most producers don't want to admit because they're kind of legally required, but no one actually does it, and like whatever, and so they don't want to get in trouble. And if you hire someone with this disability, all of a sudden you have to pay attention to things you never had to before. And I'm not saying this from an angry point of view. I empathize because I've produced as well. And you're always trying to figure out how to cut costs and like not get in legal trouble, and it's a lot of responsibility. But I think that that's one of the conversations that I hope people start having. My hope is that it becomes the standard that all sets be ADA compliant, so therefore it's not cost prohibitive to hire someone with a disability. I think that would be a start. And just giving you like the total honest answer, but I also do think things are moving in the right direction. I'm seeing them move in the right direction, and I think there's a lot of hope, and I think that, you know, that there'll be more and more opportunities, and it's important that we're there, and it's important not only to you, but for other people to see that it's okay to live a life and not fit that false norm. And you can have a full life. And even being in the background in film and just existing, and having something, a cane, an assistive device in any way or whatever, I think that's going to help a lot of people. So thank you for doing that.
Thank you so much.
I felt that. I'm sorry, I couldn't be more like, we got this. It's totally easy. Here's how you do it. Because I'm figuring it out. Because I get a lot, like for me, just so you know, like my experience so far has been a lot of people who are very enthusiastically like, oh, I want to help, but not necessarily doing anything about it. So we've got to like take that next step. And I think, again, I think we're moving. We're getting there. But it also. It's up to all of us, because I think they also need to know that audiences want that. And one of the other falsehoods, I think, is sometimes producers will think, oh, well, the audience for people in a wheelchair is people with a wheelchair, or the audience for someone who is deaf is people who are deaf. And it's not that. I think any of us who have ever been marginalized or ever felt like we didn't belong, we feel represented by other people who don't, you know, again, fit this like weird norm that no one actually fits, that we're shown so much of the time. So that's my 2 cents.
Sorry, I'm shaking a little bit.
That's
My question
cool.
is,
By the way, I think it's totally okay. Like if you're nervous or you're shaking or you're crying, like here's what I try to remember. How cool is it that we have things that can mean that much to us, and like that we have this experience, this shared experience where it can be that exciting that it can make us nervous. Like that's something actually to be proud of. So yes. Sorry. Go ahead.
My question is, when Meg got to drive and crash the Impala,
Yes. Because she's badass. Sorry, what?
did you actually get to drive it, and how upset was Jensen?
I didn't actually get to drive.
Aww.
They like, that's one of those things the stunt person had to do it, so. But I get to pretend. I get to like, in my head, I did. Just like in my head, in the first scene I ever got to do, I beat up Jerry. It actually happened, but it was like I took on this strong guy. And he was the worst beware for it. Of course, they had to like instantly get him splayed out on the ground, because otherwise it would look absurd.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. And great callback.
Hi, Rachel.
Hey, how are you? It's good to see you.
It's good to see you. I had a burning question for you I've been dying to ask.
Exciting.
First, have you seen the new Fantastic Beasts movie?
Yeah, absolutely, of course.
Oh, thank God. I've been dying to ask you what you thought of that little plot twist about the new possible Dumbledore.
Yes. Well, wait, the plot twist at the very end, you mean?
Yes.
Yeah, and you just mean the last scene. I just want to like be clear. I think it's brilliant. I also, I think it's wonderful all around. I think he is such a good actor. I'm really excited to see what he does with it. And I love anything that J.K. Rowling creates, and I'm forever fascinated by that whole universe. I think the whole storyline was so moving because it speaks to any of us that have been suppressed, like had to suppress our true selves, and how detrimental that is to one's well-being, and how that is how we create evil. And this also the sense that we all have this longing to belong, and it doesn't. I wish more of us could find that it doesn't come from the outside. You're not going to feel like you belong until you actually learn that inside. It doesn't matter what your last name is or anything. And I think that's what that is saying. Like that whole storyline. There's nothing from the outside that was going to make you feel like you belong. Anyway, that's my 2 cents. Now we'll see what comes next.
No, I loved it, but when I watched it, I was like, like sometimes I forget we're not actually friends. Like I go to like text you, and I'm like, wait a minute, I'm not actually friends with her.
Awesome. No, but also I think Ezra is a really, really good actor. I was lucky. I worked with him on one of his first jobs in Californication, and he was so bright and he was like just talented from the get-go when I saw him. Anyway.
Thank you.
Absolutely. I will nerd out about Harry Potter anytime.
Hi, Rachel. I hated your character.
That's okay. Like she redeemed herself, right?
Yes, she did. She did, definitely. But I have MS, and I guess I'm very lucky to say that I'm still walking and moving, and I think I have some cognitive issues with it, but I have to say when I found out, because I'm just a fan, I'm only a fan 3 years, but I actually was, it sounds weird, but sort of excited to find out that you have MS.
It's not weird, it's why representation matters. So just to know, I can still live my life and see someone who is, that means everything. And I think it's helpful because part of the thing you have to combat with any illness, and with MS is especially it's the unknown. What is going to happen to me? What is my tomorrow going to be like? Can I make it through this? And then to see someone, like in my case, who's progressed, and that's kind of the worst case scenario you might have in your head, but hey, she's still living life. That has hope inherent in it, and I think that's why we all need to do that for each other, and see that for each other, and be that. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you for representing.
I wish you so much luck. Yeah. I wish you so much luck and strength always.
Thank you so much.
Hi, Rachel. I love Random Acts, and I've been including Random
Me
Acts.
too.
I've been including Random Acts projects in most of my courses, so I'm curious to know. Yeah, they're really powerful. They're really great.
Thank you for that. That's huge. So you're a teacher.
I'm a professor. Yeah.
Wow. So professor of what?
Leadership studies.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Seriously, round of applause for that. I think there's no more important thing than teaching. So thank you.
Great. So my question was sort of 2 parts. Where do you see Random Acts going in the future, and how do you see your leadership role in it?
In terms of where we go in the future, actually, what you're talking about is a big part of that. I think that there needs to be more and more community created for all different demographics, types of people, walks of life. I feel like a big break point for us as human beings is whether we create supportive communities. Kind of went off, I think, especially with the internet. It's so easy to get isolated these days and to not have actual community and actual support. There's also a kind of thread that runs through our society of we have to pretend perfection, so it's not okay to admit weakness or admit that we need help. And I don't think any of us can survive on our own that way. And so I think that having community where we can share and say, hey, I need help, I'll help you, is super, super important. So one of my goals is that we've expanded a lot since I've been there. There's a lot more staff, but we've also expanded the regional rep network, and we're going to continue that. And I hope to we have our first college group. I hope to have more college groups, local groups, in all different communities, and speak to various nerd communities, but also we're all nerds of some kind, but like various fandom communities, but also college communities and pre-K community. I don't care, all of them, and I would just like to have more and more outlets for people to get together and work toward making the world a kinder, more supportive place. So that's a general big goal. Does that jive and make sense?
Yeah, if you want me to share some of the stuff I've done, it's what's worked, what hasn't, I'd be happy to do that.
Yeah, I would love that. Also, so one of the things since I've been there, we created the outreach department. If you can, I don't know, like if you do use Twitter or because if you look up Random X Outreach, you can find them as well, and they're really helpful because we're trying to create more and more tools for people to use, so that they can, basically get help to help others. And we've got like school tools and things like that. So if you could help give advice in terms of us creating those toolkits, that would be amazing. I would love that. And you can always find me on Twitter as well.
John, the what?
You can always find me on Twitter as well.
Okay.
Yeah, I would love to hear about your experience.
Thank you.
Yes. And I know you had also asked about leadership. To me, part of being a good leader is listening, and I don't try to enforce. I try to give stability. So what I'll say to the staff is like, if you need a solid direction or answer here, I'm always there to give it. Or if we're in a rush to get something done, I will always give it. I have an opinion. But I'm also always happy to hear other people's opinions. And the goal, let's agree upon the goal. The goal is let's create as much kindness and good as possible. Let's do as much good with whatever we're working on. And if you've got a better idea, I'm happy to listen to that. So that's my general take on leadership, is to know how to follow as well, basically.
Hi, Rachel.
Hey.
Well, as fans now, we're all making our mental inventories of who we want to see one last time. And I was wondering if it was entirely up to you, if you would want the chance, as I would certainly want you to have the chance, to play Meg one more time, or do you feel like you've had the last word?
Absolutely. I want to be clear, I love the show, so I love whatever they do. So it's not like I'm sitting there like, what am I coming back? But on the other hand, I'm like, I would be there in the heart. I'd carry their coffee, I don't care. I love that show, and I'm a true fangirl for Meg. I thought she was an amazing character. So I would love that anytime. One thing I have said is if I came back, I would like to be in a wheelchair. Again, I think representation does matter, and she's such a strong character. I would like to see that strength depicted with, something that a physical, difference that people might associate with being weak, so we can help undermine that. for the great question.
Hey Rachel,
How are you?
I'm good. So we all know you're a very good geek and you love Harry Potter. But I remember...
How would you know that?
Oh, I don't know. We might have gotten a photo together last year as, as Gryffindors. But if I remember correctly, you're also a Doctor Who fan?
Yep.
So if you had the chance to be cast in the show, would you prefer to be the Doctor or a companion? And if you're a companion, what Doctor would you like to be under?
Holy moly! That's like the most unfair questions ever. So, okay. I cannot, first of all, I love the Doctor so much that it doesn't feel in any way, like, I don't know, I feel understood by the Doctor. So I definitely I get that perspective, and it's one of the few places where I feel seen. There are certain characters where you're just like, oh, I've always felt like such an outsider that he, she, whatever incarnation makes sense to me. But on the other hand, I wouldn't want to mess with the Doctor. Like, I want the Doctor to be outside of me because I want the Doctor's help. So I think I'd go for companion. Also though, in terms of picking my Doctor, I cannot pick favorites there. I will say, I really love Stephen Moffat's writing. I know everyone has different opinions, but I really enjoyed, so I enjoyed both 10 and 11 when Stephen Moffat was writing it. I felt like it was at a different level. So yeah, that's where I'm at right now. So, okay.
Thank you.
I'm literally like scared. Like, if you see, I'm kind of uncomfortable because I'm like, I don't want to ever pick anything on that front.
Hi, Rachel.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm really good. I'm happy to be here.
I was just wondering if you personally ship Meg Steele. And
I feel like I was the original Big Steel ship, like, or the original shipper. Yeah, no, I love those characters together. I love that relationship. I love that dynamic. I completely am a romantic for that. That was my favorite thing about playing that. Because there were so many things about that dynamic that were correct to me. To me, it was neither one fit any traditional gender roles. So it wasn't like a male-female. It was, they're non-gender. They've probably both been multiple genders, at different times. And they just don't fit, the typical, stereotypical ideas of what that is. I love that I don't think either of them went into it trying to force any romantic ideal, and I don't think either of them particularly liked or understood how they felt about each other. But they felt that way. I love that anyone can take that relationship and imagine it however they want. So if you want it to be romantic, it can be, but it doesn't have to be. It's just obviously two entities, angel, demon, whatever, that kind of got each other and support each other and protect each other in this very odd way. And I just thought it was brilliant. So what about you? Do you have a ship Meg Steele?
oh yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey Rachel.
How's it going?
Good, thanks. My question is, you've gone 100% unicorn with your personal life. Did you originally introduce unicorn into the show, or was it something that you brought up and you just ran with?
That's a great question. No, it is completely a creation of this supernatural family. Because what happened was I had one line in one episode where I said, go save my unicorn. Or Sam was talking about his love interest, and I said, that's one rare unicorn. And then I said, go save my unicorn at the end, so you knew I felt that way about Castiel. And because of that line, people started like bringing me unicorns and things like that. And then I had the idea, when I first started using the scooter, I didn't like that people would see me in the scooter sometimes and go, oh, what happened? And it kind of feel sad. And to me, when I just had a brainstorm one night, I'm like, what if I just put a unicorn? I don't know why, but I just thought of it. And it totally changed the whole dynamic, because now people see that and they like laugh or smile. It's like, obviously I'm not sad because I'm having a unicorn. So because of that too, I think that added on to it, and it's just become like more and more built up. But it's really just between us. You know, now I'm giving the unicorn up and all of that stuff. But it's what is special about unicorns to me. I mean, I love magical creatures, all things magical. But really what's special about unicorns to me is it makes me think of all of you.
Think of Rome.
Hi, I'm Abby. Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you too. So a lot of my favorite moments from the show include Meg. Many of them when Cass went a little crazy and Meg took care of Cass. So I was wondering what some of your favorite or most memorable or funniest moments on working with Misha with that situation.
I love that too. But by the way, also, I so love the dynamic of, like, she was, I think, the stronger person in that twosome a lot of times. She was the one who was taking care of him. She was the one who sacrificed herself for him. But it was kind of, it wasn't a showy thing. It was just, she was there, and she, a lot of times he was a little vulnerable, a little lost and all that, and I love that dynamic. I also think I got the best lines. Like, I just have to thank the writers. I just got the best lines all the time. Yeah, really. Misha anecdote that, like, to me sums up who he is, and I've told this before, but it's the best example to me is that when we were doing the kiss moment, I was already really having trouble with the MS, but I didn't even tell them. What happened was, at first I thought it was a slip disc or something that was giving me trouble, and I had told them that, and then I found out that I had MS, but I failed to tell anyone because it seemed like too big a deal. I didn't want to make a big deal. Anyway, so they all thought I had a back problem. They knew something was up. But I was having trouble doing the turn for the kiss. And Misha just kind of picked me up and moved me, which you can see in the thing, it looks really awesome. Like, what I love about it, it really works. It's a very, like, sexy moment. But it was actually just him being a good human being and a friend, and he didn't, it was like unspoken that he would just help me. And I think that was a quintessential Misha moment. He never, like, and he hates if you draw attention to it. Like, anytime, in years since, he's done so much, including giving me this job at Random X, that's changed my life forever. But if I try to thank him, he shrugs it off. It's like, or he thanks me instead. He just, that's who he is. So.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah.
Hi, I'm Katie.
Nice to meet you.
So I drove a really, really long way to get here.
Well, where'd you drive in from?
Phoenix, Arizona.
Wow.
How long is it?
So I'm really, really excited to get to meet you and ask a question.
I'm excited that you're here, and welcome. I hope it's an amazing weekend.
Anyway, so I was wondering what your favorite Meg, line or scene was.
Let's see, my favorite Meg line was "Go save your brother in my uniform." It's not, like, there were so many more brilliant, funny lines that Meg said throughout throughout the seasons. But that one just, I'm at heart a sap and a romantic, and I just thought that was brilliant. And I love, again, that it was like not drawing a lot of attention. It was such a subtle way of saying, I love him, he's my life, and she literally was giving up her life for him. But yeah, it was kind of like a snarky, funny aside, and I love that about Meg. So that was my favorite. I also love getting to say you're a little short for a stormtrooper. I mean, who wouldn't? There were so many good lines.
Yeah.
I got to say some really naughty ones. I still can't believe I said meat suit old Dewey and things like that. Or Nether's quiver. But yeah, so what about you? Do you have a favorite one?
Honestly, anytime she would like taunt Dean, like he was your boyfriend first. Or...
It's so fun.
Well, thank you.
Yes. I feel like we all need a little Meg in our lives.
Hey, hi. I'm really nervous, sorry.
To apologize.
I just wanted to say you're really, really inspiring to me and to everyone here. And my question is, if you could have Meg team up with one other female on the show, who would it be?
Ooh, that's a really good question. I think it would be Rowena. There are so many great female characters, but the truth is, like, Meg wouldn't really team up well with Jodie, and Donna. Like, I think she would be completely bewildered by their humanness. I also, like, I love Charlie as a character, but, like, again, I don't know that Meg and Charlie would make a particularly good team. But I think Meg and Rowena would be amazing, and I love her so much.
I agree, I definitely would love to see
You like that one?
A badass duo.
Awesome. Thank you for that one. Hey.
Hi Rachel.
How are you?
I'm good. So this is my first convention.
Welcome.
Thank you. So my question is, after Meg died, is there any scene or storyline that you really wish that she could have been there for?
No, I don't spend like a lot of time feeling that way because I just generally love watching the show. And I love every like turn and takes and things like that. So I'm not like, ooh, put me in, I want to be part of that. I'm like, I just want to see what all these awesome people do. And it's almost like when you're a part of it, it almost takes away from your experience of getting to watch it. So that's my 2 cents. Was there something you'd like to see Meg a part of?
I think it would have been really cool if she got to go against the darkness.
Yeah, that would have been awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That would have been awesome. Real quickly, before you say goodbye, Rob, anything inappropriate you want to say to Rachel?
I just would love to see her bedroom and what that's like.
Yeah, speaking of the darkness.